Hello and welcome back to live coverage of the Apex Gaming $5,000 Modern Open here in sunny Caldwell, Ohio. I'm Todd Tandy Anderson, joined by Elliot Raff. Say hi, Elliot.
Hi, Elliot.
We have 4 players remaining in the event, and man, it's been a doozy of a weekend so far. We had 48 players come out for the Sealed Spectacular Spider-Man event yesterday. We crowned a champion, gave away a bunch of money, cash, and prizes. We also put 2 people into the regional championship and the Apex Invitational next month. Now we're running it back, playing Modern today, giving away $5,000 in cash and prizes, down to 4 players, and man, they are getting a huge chunk of change, as well as the winner of this match qualifying for that regional championship because it's the top 2 competitors and not just the first place.
Oh, you love to see it. Sending more people to high-level events. It's what we love to do.
Yes. All right. Well, we have a bracket, so we can go over what happened in the previous top 8 round and go over what we're going to be watching in the top 4. So we had Josh Moscow on Amulet Titan defeating Autumn Kuzma on Merfolk, and after that, we had Gabriel Roberts on Esper Gorios defeating Franklin Folks on Affinity. That is going to be our backup match here in the semifinals. That's Moscow on the play in the first seed with Amulet Titan against Gabriel Roberts, Esper Gorios. Who do you think's favored in Titan versus Gorios?
That's a really close matchup,
Yeah.
honestly. I think I'll give a slight edge to Josh Moscow. Being on the play, I think, is a pretty big deal. Gabriel Roberts does have a lot of free interaction, though, between Solitude, Force of Negation. But, that one, really a coin flip. I could see that going either way.
All right, our other side of the bracket in the quarterfinals, we had Nick Mancucci's Izzet Prowess defeating Wesley Byer on Gruel Brood Scale. That's the 6th seed. And then the second match, Austin Daily D was defeated by Gabriel Abadi. That's the 7th seed. And so Nick Mancucci gets the player draw against his match against Gabriel Abadi. So Izzet Prowess on the play against Affinity. Who you got?
You know, I think I'm going to go with Affinity in this one. I think it's definitely very close. The fact that Nick Mancucci does not have anything in his deck that grants trample apart from Corey Steelcutter means that these drones are effective at blocking Slickshot Show Off. You're able to put some little guys in front of the ground creatures. Kappa Cannoneer, a big part of it, and that Medic Shadow Spear might come into play as well. I think that this, again, pretty close matchup, but I think that Kappa Cannoneer again becomes that card that the matchup becomes very much about.
All right, well, the players are situated and ready in the feature match area. So without further ado, let's head on down and watch the semifinals. I kind of agree with you. I think, no trample from the Prowess deck might be kind of tough. The drones from the Pinnacle Emissary can maybe keep the Slickshot Show Off at bay, which I really like. And mostly it's just 2 very explosive decks, and we'll just see who's able to take it down.
There was a 5 die in the middle of the table there, and it looks like a body was on a couple mulligans.
Yeah, nothing new for him, though. He's been mulliganing like crazy with this deck and with all of his decks lately. Here is Urza Saga on turn 1.
Yeah,
Pass.
we do see Gabriel Abadi having a card that we haven't yet seen from him or any Affinity player yet today, and that's Weapons Manufacturing. There is a copy in hand for Abadi. I don't think he has the red source to be able to cast it quite yet, but does keep it in hand because it goes well with that Kappa Cannoneer that's also in hand. So if Abadi's able to survive the first couple of turns, we could be looking at a pretty quick Cannoneer.
Okay, turn 1 Monastery Swiftspear for Mancucci, and here's turn 2 Core Steel Cutter, and we're going to Mutagenic Growth the Monastery Swiftspear, so that's going to create the Monk token with Prowess and equip the Core Steel Cutter to it. So we have +1 Prowess from the Core Steel, so that's 2 from the Swiftspear, 2 from the Monk. Mutagenic Growth does not buff the Monk, and so that's +2 more, +1 more Prowess. I believe that's 7.
I think Abadi thinks it's 8.
Okay.
So let's see. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 from the mutagenic.
All right, so it's 1 from the Swiftspear, 2 from the Monk. And then we have Prowess, Mutagenic. So it is 8. Or no, it's 7. It's 5 and 2. Well, all right. Well, a body here exploding onto the battlefield. Pinnacle Emissary on 2.
It was 7. 1 was the previous turn with the Swiftspear.
Got it. All right, so Pinnacle Emissary with Memnite. Mistress Bauble. This is going to generate 2 drones.
And this is Kappa Cannoneer. If he wants to tap out for it, but opts not
I
to.
don't think he had the blue for it, right?
Oh, right, there is no blue mana. Yeah, improvise not working the same as something like Convoke.
Right.
Pinnacle and Emissary can't produce blue for the improvise cost.
Okay, so back Mancucci's way, facing down a pretty stout battlefield now, but blocking against Prowess is relatively difficult. Doesn't work that well. We're going to start with a Lava Dart on the Ground Pounder, and now these drones can't block. They can only block flying creatures.
Yeah, we are going to see a bolt go upstairs as well. That's going to drop a body down to 9, create another monk. And this is going to be, let's see, there's the lava dart in the graveyard. This might just
This is
be
lethal.
lethal.
Yeah, this is just
Yeah,
lethal. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus Dart is 8, and then 9, 10, 11. And a body, even with an explosive, turn number 2 is literally a negative life now. GG.
all right. Game 1 going very quickly over to Nick Mincucci on that Izzet Prowess deck.
No trample needed. Those drones can only block flyers, and the creatures from Corey Steelcutter and Monastery Swiftspear just chugged on through.
Yeah, I think I'm sensing a theme here for a body. Maybe not having to mulligan to 5.
Yeah,
might
don't
be,
mulligan
might be
to
the
5.
key there.
How
Yeah.
about don't do it? All right, well, these players are going to be reaching to their sideboards for some help. Let's start on Gabriel Abadi's side of things. We have 1 copy of Ashiok Dreamrender, 2 Blood Moon, 3 Consign to Memory, 2 Emery Lurker of the Lock, 2 Force of Negation, 1 Galvanic Blast, 1 Grafdigger's Cage, 1 Pithy Needle, and 2 Vandal Blast. Anything that stands out to you as being particularly good against, is it Prowess? You know, I don't see anything that's really like, please come in.
Yeah, I think this is quite literally just the Galvanic Blast.
Okay.
It's possible we could see something like Force of Negation come in as well, perhaps trying to protect a key piece or being able to counter something like Corey Steelcutter. But that's really all I'm seeing. The rest of the package here from a body not looking great against the Prowess deck.
All right, on the other side of the table, Nick Mancucci up a game with that explosive start from Prowess. 4 Consign to Memory, 2 Murktide Regent, 1 Spell Pierce, 2 Spell Snare, 1 Surgical Extraction, 4 Unholy Heat, and a Violent Urge. Anything stand out to you here as coming in definitely? Is Consign to Memory any good against this version of Affinity?
It really has not been impressive. It might be able to come in to tag, say, an Urza Saga, but I don't think that's the game plan that Mincucci's looking for. I think this is going to be very minimal sideboarding on both sides. We might see something like a Spell Pierce to be able to snag like an early weapons manufacturing, but really, I think this might be the extra Violent Urge coming in. I think this might be just we're not doing much sideboarding. I'm going to get you dead as quickly as I possibly can.
We say there's 2 ships passing in the night.
Yes, exactly.
2 ships passing in the night. So we'll see if either of them has any particular sideboard plan that deviates from their main deck, but our best guess is that not too much is happening on either side. Now, in the last matchup against Boros, we talked a bit about a body doing the Force of Negation thing to protect from Wrath of the Skies, Stony Silence. Is there anything out of this Prowess deck that is attacking in the same way?
Not really. I mean, the Prowess deck is looking to just play their threats and enhance those threats. They're not looking to control Gabriel's side of the battlefield as much beyond the occasional, say, lightning bolt to deal with a Pinnacle Emissary, for instance. But again, Nick is just giving a body so much less time than the Boros Energy deck did in the previous round. So I don't think that the Prowess deck is trying to take the controlling stance. I think that's actually Gabriel in this stance that has to try to contain what Nick's doing.
All right, so players here are ready to draw their opening 7s. Let's see if they're going to be a keep. These days, I think a lot more mulligans happen than in previous iterations of Magic, just because the London mulligan is very forgiving. You get to see 7 fresh cards again. You only have to put 1 back. You get to basically resculpt your hand each time. And so people playing high-powered formats like Modern, Legacy, Vintage, they are able to use the London mulligan to effectively generate the extra cards that you actually lose during mulligan just by creating powerful synergies together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the update for the mulligan, putting cards on bottom, being able to sculpt your hand more has just done so much for these synergistic decks that you do see in older formats, as we do see both Nick and Gabriel taking mulligans down to 6. They'll both be looking to kind of take advantage of that new mulligan rule.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I think that mulligans have always been a particularly important part of Magic, figuring out the quality of your opening hand based on the potential spread of matchups. But I think that at some points in previous iterations of the mulligan, you just kind of had to keep weaker hands more often because going down a card, not having that sculpting or whatever, was just like too detrimental to some of your openers, and you had to kind of get a little lucky. Nowadays, I think that it's way more about figuring out how exactly can my opening hand defend against what my opponent is doing or aggress against what my opponent is doing, and so the skill of mulliganing is just the ceiling is just so much higher.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's an area where most players are giving away a lot of points, right?
Yeah.
Is not being aggressive enough with their mulligans, especially in these older formats. The more powerful draws that you can have, a mediocre six often, or sorry, a good six better than a mediocre seven.
Yeah.
You don't have to mulligan, you get to mulligan, and that's
Right.
an important distinction.
So looks like we are about to start here. Game number two, a body gonna be on the play. Let's see how he wants to navigate. Playing a lot of turn one Urza sagas these days, and we're gonna lead off with Swiftfoot Boots. Dumb boots.
Yeah, and so we do see Minkuchi here with leading on an Urza's Bauble, targeting himself. Looks like he kept the hand with just Slickshot Show Off as the threat. A couple of Lightning Bolts and another Mishra's Bauble in hand for him. A body, I believe, has a Kappa Cannoneer, a Memnite, Sink into Stupor, and Thoughtcast.
So Mancucci here looks at the top card of his deck, doesn't like it, fetches it away pretty quickly with a Scalding Tarn, and now he gets to draw a fresh one off the top. And he's also going to take a damage off the Steam Vents so that he can keep it untapped and hold up something like Lightning Bolt in case Pinnacle Emissary comes down. I think this is a decent start for Mancucci. A little bit of sculpting, no pressure though, so a body's got a bit more time.
And right off the top, I think that was Pinnacle Emissary picked up for Gabriel Abadi. So Minkuchi showing that discipline by fetching the untapped land and is going to be rewarded for it here.
Now, even though he has the bolt for the Pinnacle Emissary, I think a body only has the one Memnite for it. And so this bolt here on it is going to slow him down a little bit, but it's not that detrimental. Obviously, we don't have the ability to keep going too much, but we do have the Boots going to go on the Memnite and attack for 2.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Lava's Fur Boots on Memnite being a winning play in the last round. Perhaps we'll do so again.
All right. Minkuchi, 2 mana. Here is Slick Shot Show Off. Mishra's Bauble going to trigger its buff. 3 damage coming across, and a Mishra's Bauble draw floating. Top card of a body is revealed, and passing of the turn. Back to a body. Saga about to pop off. Let's see what he wants to go get with it.
My guess would be that this will be a Mox Opal, because a body would otherwise be one short of casting this Cannoneer.
Well, any 0 lets him play the Cannoneer, right? Because of Improvise.
That's true. I think the second blue source might also be important here, so that he has the flexibility to hold up the second copy of Sink and Stupor that's in his hand, although I believe that was the card that was revealed to Minkuchi from the Mishra's Bauble, so he knows that it's there as well.
Okay, so it looks like we drew another Sink into Stupor or Saporific Springs. Ooh, Ether Spellbomb is a nice one. That can be a good bounce effect later to help win a race.
Yeah, it looks like Shadow Sphere is also a card that Gabriel's considering here.
Yeah, there's a chance that if you just let Mancucci untap with Slickshot Show Off, though, that you die. That's like pretty scary.
Yeah.
Just dying from 14 next turn.
Well, Mikuchi's only got 2 cards in hand. I mean, that certainly could represent a lot of damage, especially if one of those cards is something like Lava Dart. Oh, it looks like there's actually a third card there as well.
Yeah, I think he cycled that bauble, so there's one extra just hiding in there, chilling.
It will be the Aether Spellbomb there for a body. So this does allow a body the ability to play the Sink into Stupor as the land, go down to 11, and then still have the spell bomb up.
Yeah, that's true. Also important to note, Ether Spellbomb in that cycle of Spellbombs don't actually need to tap in order to activate, and so while it's tapped, it can still be sacrificed to bounce.
Yep, and so The pickup was a mutagenic growth here.
Starting off here with Monastery Swiftspear into Mishra's Bauble. This is going to trigger both of these creatures' buffs. Now with Mutagenic Growth, Mancucci is actually sending in the Monastery Swiftspear and, basically just saying like, hey, if you want to block, we're going to smush.
Yeah, I mean, worth noting here that there is no access to Delirium on Minkuchi's side, so Gabriel doesn't have to fear anything like a Violent Urge.
Mm-hmm.
The exception being is that Minkuchi could fetch for Thundering Falls and get a little lucky off a Surveil. But that I don't think that's a luxury that a body has to play around that.
All right, how do you feel about Kappa Cannoneer blocking the Monastery Swiftspear, and then if, you know, things would be cast to kill the Kappa Cannoneer, well, you just bounce the Monastery Swiftspear with the Ether Spellbomb instead of targeting the very scary Slickshot Show-Off.
Yeah, I mean that does look like what might be happening here, but it kind of will depend on where the mutagenic growth goes, right? So
I was
Minkuchi
kind of
can,
thinking Mancucci would just mutagenic the Swiftspear just to kind of force a body's hand.
yeah, it does look like that's what's going to happen here. That bolt did go upstairs, dropping a body down to 8. The show off, I believe we've only had one non-creature spell cast this turn. That bauble stayed in play, I believe, from the previous turn.
I don't think that's true. I think it came in this turn. But
Okay.
this is let's see. So there's Bolt, Bobble, Mutagenic. So I think 3 spells have been cast. So that means that Swiftspear is naturally 4/5, but the Mutagenic targeting it now would make it big enough to eat the Kappa Cannoneer whole. That means that the Slickshot Show Off is a 1, and then we have 3, 5, 7. So that's actually going to put a body down to just 1 life.
Yes, indeed, and that is what will happen.
So Lava Dart, something like that off the top could win the game. We do have a drone token though and a Memnite token to block these 2 creatures on the swing back, so Kappa Cannoneer can start rumbling and maybe close the game in 2 attacks.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see whether Minkuji opts to redeploy the Swift Spear here or just cracks the bauble, and it will be the Swift Spear.
Maybe look at the top of the deck first. If it's a burn spell, you just draw it.
Body just flipping over the card as there's nothing that he could have done to alter his draw step.
Body has 4 artifacts in play. Going to lead off with Thoughtcast, but considering maybe moving the Lava Spur boots around, I don't know. I feel like the Pinnacle Emissary is like guaranteeing the Kappa Cannoneer gets in 6 damage, which is important to make it a 2-turn clock.
Right, but casting the Thoughtcast first doesn't take away that option for later, so I
Mhm.
think I'd want to get more information here from a body.
All right, finds Tormod's Crypt in a land.
Yep, so that is important. It'll get another drone onto the battlefield if a body wants to go for the Pinnacle Emissary plus the Tormod's Crypt.
Yeah, I
But it,
think I think doing that makes a lot of sense because then you insulate yourself from a second Slickshot Show Off from the top of the deck killing you.
yeah, that would be basically the only draw that would be an issue there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
All right, Kappa gonna grow a little. And also importantly, the Pinnacle Emissary will be put into the Warp Zone, and with the Steam Vents that he drew off the top, he will be able to just cast an artifact next turn, which is the important part of making sure the Kappa Cannoneer gets unblockable.
yeah, so really he just has to fade the top of Minkuchi's deck now. He does have an extra draw coming from that bauble that he has not yet taken. Because I believe Minkuchi did crack the bauble in Gabriel's upkeep. So Minkuchi's got 2 draws to try to find some direct damage here. Another Monastery Swiftspear would also be lethal from this point because the drones can only block flyers.
Well, I think a body was trying to figure out how to actually kill this turn because one of these tokens has, or both these tokens have flying, moving the Swiss Fur boots around. Oh, there's Lava Dart. GG.
Yep,
Bang.
that'll wrap things up here.
All right. Nick Mancucci is your first semifinalist. He is 2-0, defeating Gabriel Abadi. And Izzet Prowess looking pretty good against one of the boogeyman of the format, Affinity.
Yeah, and Nick Mancucci, congratulations to him punching his ticket to the finals, but more importantly, qualifying for the Apex Invitational as well as the next regional championship.